Good morning. Let's get out of here. Just recently made a text post on my YouTube community, so subscribe if you want to get the backup in form of informative education that I release in my community section about narcissistic psychopathic abuse. And if you're interested in Jungian psychology, I also talk about archetypes and individuation. Anyway, recently I posted something about when you're in the projection beam of a dysfunctional narcissistic family unit, you have a problem. Because these entities, they need scapegoats from time to time to deflect responsibility and dysfunctional structure. You need to understand there is internal absence. There is an absence. Narcissism is an absence, okay? And psychopathy is also an absence, all right? There is nobody home. There is dysfunction. There is anybody who is healthy is suffering from this, and they project a facade and a false image as a compensation for that. From time to time, a scapegoat must be released, sacrificed, to project on them. I made a whole video how to flip that script. You can check it out, one of my last videos. Today I talk about the narration and about this projection beam that is focused on you. The narcissist naturally focuses on a target to project all their dysfunction using the mechanism of projective identification. But a psychopath can channel this and support this with narrative control and triangulation, coercive control schemes to support the narcissist's dysfunctional projection. The problem is that the narration of the narcissist is very similar to the narration of the real target of this, okay? So this is the problem you have. The problem is the narcissist will say, oh, I'm a victim. I have to do what I do because of X, Y, Z, all right? That's why I say you can't live in a victimhood mentality, even in a victim state, when you're narcissistically abused. And that's a paradoxon, because you have to go through it. You need to understand and admit to yourself that you have been victimized and that you made mistakes, all right? There has a power disbalance has been created and you allowed this to happen. But as long as you live in this state, you can't flip the script, because you comply with the script in some way. And you live in that perceived dependency that has been created inside the malignant shared fantasy of sick minds, pathological minds, okay? So what you need to do is, you need, first of all, of course, admit it to yourself, repent, communicate it, and work through this, but then you must leave this behind. And first of all, understand that all the power, all the function is within you, all right? And then you execute this. You show yourself, you're not a one-trick pony like the narcissist or the psychopath, all right? You are a full-fledged human being able to reflect the whole spectrum of colors in the sunlight, all right? While these people are just a fraction of it. They can't resemble this. They can't mimic this, all right? They can only play one simple role, one very superficial role. It's like they create a facade and a superficial image. They try to mimic the functioning you that they have internalized, that they have idealized, that they started to envy. And again, the same narration will come from the narcissist. The narcissist will say that you target them because you envy them, all right? But I told you, there is ways to flip the script. There is a video about this. There is a lot of content on my YouTube site where I show you how you can evade this. But the problem is the narcissist has a similar narration to you. They also mimic you in many ways. But you are, in other words, you might include something. You include everything that a narcissist is, but much more, because you're a real human being. You can even include, like I told you all the time, narcissism is a defensive mechanism and a compensatory mechanism. It is also a disturbance in individuation, which means to become oneself in early childhood. It means I am the best, I am grandiose, I can conquer the world. If somebody takes something from me, I get a tantrum, I get angry, I will fight this person, I will cry, I learn to expand, I know no limits. This is why functioning parenting is important, to create no narcissists, because functioning parents will teach the child that there are limits. They will say, this is where your body ends, this is where the world begins, and this is where the world ends and another body begins. And you have power over yourself, over your mind, over your body, but not over other people, not over the world. And this is what narcissists failed to learn. There's two different reasons why they could have failed to learn it. One is idealization, the golden child problem, where parents treat children different. They idealize parts of the children and therefore create children without boundaries. These can become overt narcissists or psychopaths. Or parents would get out there, bro. Just get in. You can go. You can go. But you can't go. Right? You can't go. You can. When parents neglect children and only give them attention when they behave badly, this can as well breed narcissists that, as a compensation for feeling unloved and absolutely impotent, create the compensatory false self. So they sacrifice their true self, and now they create a false self that constantly needs to falsify their bad mother, bad object, introject. Means there is constantly that voice telling them you're unlovable, and they constantly have to exercise the opposite of that, what they are convinced they are in some way. Is a kind of reversal of their own self-image, okay? So they need to display omnipotence, and they have also not learned where their body and their influence ends. This is why all these kinds of narcissists, whether overt or covert, are playing God in other people's lives, because they think, or that they learned that this is the way to go, okay? And the ones who have been neglected by mother even learned that when they behave in bad ways, that this brings them attention and is rewarded. This is why they have this false pride of smiling and being proud when they do filthy, shameful things, and you call them out on this inside the shared fantasy. You also need to understand, inside the shared fantasy is a different place than reality. Inside the shared fantasy, dysfunctional behavior is rewarded and praised and celebrated inside the dysfunctional family unit. But outside the shared fantasy, when the public is looking, they are mortified if you do this. Means you expose this to the public, and then suddenly they're not proud on this anymore. Suddenly it's not celebrated anymore. Suddenly they mimic functioning and moral alignment that is the facade. You need to understand you're more powerful than you think, and when you consistently walk in truth, there is people who you don't know of, who already got scared because you have one superpower. You lost everything already, yet not your body, not your soul, not your truth. And this means you can't lose anything more. You're not scared to lose anything. So you speak the truth recklessly, uncompromised. Therefore, there's people who have already lost their positions, official positions, or have been afraid to lose their positions because they sided with the all-pervasive, inflated, wrong narration of the narcissist's family cult. And if you expose this, there is a very good chance that people side with the wrong people, support a system that is deeply morally foul and is deeply malignant for many people involved. And this will lead people to either go down because they are proud, they are prideful, they are too proud to admit it. This means they will have to go down, or there's people who realize this and they then are shocked what they did and quickly reposition themselves to not face the consequences for siding with the wrong people, because now they see they have the same dirt on their fingers. All right, so understand, you will be rewarded and blessed based on the cleanness of your hands. And of course, we need to get calm and unreactive to the reactive abuse. We've been trained to overreact, which means that we mirror the wrong perception that has been created inside the shared fantasy, that there is not equality but a disbalance in power. That's not true. This means if the narcissistic family cult is successful in undermining and infiltrating official structures with their wrong narration, you must detach yourself from these allies. These are wrong allies. Then they will fall if they take the wrong position. You not just need to be consistent in functioning and truth. Being consistent in functioning and truth has never ever brought a person down, as long as we pretend to be civilized, a civilized world and state. I mean, we pretend to be this. We definitely not civilized the way we live, but there's still people who try to create a frame where civilized, social, and moral existence is possible. And that's our allies, okay? Often it's lawyers who correct politicians who take wrong positions. So maybe lawyers are your best friends. Maybe policemen are your best friends who know the law and help you to execute it, because you're not allowed to take things in your own hands. So play by the rules and subscribe to my channel.